Tyrannosaurus Rex, and I would swear that person is shaking the hands of a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Right.
Okay, I have been furiously writing, and I did not get a chance to write. I'm gonna have to listen to the show again for all that information. But you mentioned the aquaterrestrials, and then of course that made me take me back to Behold a Pale Horse, William Cooper, who talked about when they saw UFOs coming up out of the water when they were on the Navy ship, and how they came and debriefed everybody and made them swear to secrecy. But anyway. UFO.
I could attest to that.
Okay.
I saw them offshore in Mayara, where I grew up, in the southern part of Trinidad when I was a boy. My grandfather, when I asked him, I said, well, what are those things? Because I was up looking out the window, and I was like, you could look down the block, and that was the ocean. I grew up at the seashore. And off way out into the horizon, I would see these things at the night when the stars were out, and these lights would be shooting up from out of the ocean. And I would say, well, what are those? And my grandfather would say, well, those are flying fish.
Oh, wow.
As I grew, I said, flying fish. I said, well, how did they stay out of the water so long? How are they breathing, Grandpa? He just turned away and kept walking.
Speaking at the upcoming UFO conference, you told us you were going to be the keynote speaker. Can you, first of all, tell us when and where that's going to be at, and give us like a synopsis of what your position is, like, who, what do you think are on those planes? Are we dealing with aliens, human beings?
Yeah, I'm going to give a personal experience that I had that led up to me, first and foremost, stopping this particular part of my investigation and actually reporting to brothers and sisters. As I will explain at this gathering, the nationalist community had the eyes and the ears and the attention of the brothers and sisters, and anyone speaking about off-world intelligence and us being from other planets or things of that nature was dealt with as spookism, and it was dealt with in such a way that it was dismissed. So I didn't want to, just put the things out there. But what I did, you'll come to find, that I interspersed what I discovered back then and began putting little pieces in subsequent lectures that I had done. So there were certain terms that I introduced that I didn't go too deeply into, that I was waiting for the opportune time to be able to elaborate on. So when I was invited to come and keynote this particular program, I thought, I said, well, maybe it's time that I could tell my story and actually see what it is the response would be. I could imagine, but we'll see. The title, the working title, has two. I'm calling the overall title, We, the Alpha Terrestrial, the Alpha Celestials. We are the Alpha Celestials. And that, from that premise, I'm going to speak about who and why we might be. But my basic, this is going to be pretty much a series. We, the Alpha Celestials, is going to be a series. And I'm going to introduce certain things that people are going to have to investigate and do a lot more research into to see. And I'm going to show how this thing is real, because even if somebody is playing a game on us, then this game is so intricately woven into a reality that is undeniable, yet being made to believe is unreal and questionable. I have to question why people would question the enormous amount of evidence. Why would they question to the contrary? So my first, the name of part one is called Blank Slate Technology, Transhumanism, and the Spawn of the Animus. And of course, I usually put these elaborate titles on and do my best to explain them so that the brothers and sisters can get the full meaning of them. And my particular experience with what I'm about to speak about, then I'm going to give that information out, because it's already there. You can find it all over the internet. But this happened to me before internet became popular, what I got. So everything that I don't think most people are familiar with what I'm going to speak about, they may be, but I'm going to elaborate a little further on something that just seems a little odd to me now that I have looked at both sides of the equation.
Right. There's a brother in the chat room freaking out now because we're talking about UFOs. Speaking about magical magicians and spooky, and here we go, and yeah, okay. There, real quick, Missy Miss wants to know, she's doing a report on homosexuality or doing a documentary on homosexuality. Is there anything that we can do in order to save our brothers from what they're going through?
Well, we have to save each other, our brothers and our sisters that are in this. The reason why our brothers are going so far afield is because the masculine principle has been undermined. It has been undermined in such a way that it is the masculine principle is supposed to equate power. And if you essentially act in powerlessness and pretend to have power but have no substantial power to hand off to your next generation, then you really had no power.
Right.
So the semblance of power or the perception of power has been passed to the woman. So it may be better to be a woman or to act like one because the society seems to support that women now have, quote, the power. So when you give the power, and again, most women don't like to hear this, but it's the truth. They know this. They've studied us. They've studied us very well. When you wish to undermine a society, the first person that you attack is the primary authority. You have to undermine the provider and the protector. And then when you undermine the provider protector, you can undermine him by overt military control and destruction. And then after you've destroyed, then you have to occupy. You occupy the territory, and then you occupy the mind. The greatest occupation system that they instituted after conquest was the education system. And that education system, through the religious system, essentially put us into we are a occupied people. And the occupied territories are our minds. When we understand that, we must understand that coming through the feminine principle, as we all do, it is the feminine principle now who, as always, when there is a decimation amongst the men, she steps forward to do what the men are supposed to do, not to become them, but to do what the men do, and to try to get the men back into power so that she may gain her power back. Because being a man and acting like one is not her power. That is not her power, right? So what she has been given a semblance of power, and she thinks it's power. It's got a rush. It's a rush to have money and ability to do whatever you want to do. But guess what? Because your nature is not that, you can be trained, you can be conditioned to think and do and act like that. But in the long run, men with power immediately attain a specific level in the society where they would say, I wish to be autonomous. I will change this for the better for my family. And I will take what resources I have and the men and become a threat to the government. So it is the men that are the threat to the government. And so when you destabilize masculinity at the psychological level, and you bring women into the place where she now presumes the roles and then makes the masculine role superficial by taking on his jobs, then you make his role in society redundant and unnecessary because you're doing it. And she said, well, wait, if I wanted to do this and I'm given the choice to do that and so forth, well, they're giving you all these choices so that you can destabilize the society. Most people think that you're empowering yourself, but what have we actually attained as a community? Nothing. We've gotten little trinkets and things. We've gotten better jobs, but what are our children? A society is gauged by what their children look like. Look at our children. And who is the one who has the first charge of our children? Our women. And what do? They made your job easier. They put them into these prisons they call daycare centers. And sometimes those children are there for 11 and 12 hours. No, this is a system of destruction for our people, and our sisters need to understand that they were the brunt of attack. And after the men were defeated, that after that, they killed the king, then they killed the prince, and then they went after the queen and the princess. And who are those? They killed the king, Martin Luther. Then after that, they killed the prince, Malcolm. after they killed the two shining men that we had as the foundation, and of course Khalid went, when we had this, manhood that was showing that you cannot deal with this fighter object, brother, who do we have now? Oprah? Who is
Olivia
our leader? Yeah, Olivia Pope, or Messy Jesse, or who do we have? Al Sharpton, Pompidou? Who do we have? That we can say is a man. Who do we say that we have as a warrior that we can stand behind? Everybody wants to play warrior by taking on the names of warriors. That's not a warrior.
Right.
A warrior fights on the ground. Just because you take on the name of a warrior doesn't make you a warrior. Just because you take on the veneer of a teacher and a so-called lecturer, that doesn't mean it. It's cut and paste, what I call cut and paste scholarship is not a scholar.
Right.
I didn't have a computer where I could cut and paste and then put it on there and take the words of people that came before me, parrot those words, and then say, well, I know this. No, you don't. Because I had to go to libraries across the country to go into places that I was not allowed because friends let me in at night to get the information I got.
Right.
You see, you have to understand what it took. And standing on the shoulders of Dr. Ben and Dr. Clark and these people, if you don't bring those people along with you to show the next generation where it came from and the work ethics that it took to get this kind of information, because there are no work ethics anymore. Everything is too easy for everybody. So it's a matter of fact. It's just about information mainlining now,
Brother, can you please, I'm so disappointed and sad that we are coming down to our final minutes of the show, but can you please tell the brothers and sisters, I know I'm kind of sick about it, but can you please tell the listeners a little bit of information briefly about the Wounded Womb and where they can access that as well as contact information for you?
Oh, beautiful. Thank you, sister. They can go up online to our website at University of Commission Sciences at uksnow.org. There should be a direct link right there on the home page to the Wounded Womb. And I also recommend my wife's book, Dr. Nalani, 7 Steps to Healing and Wellness, using essential oils as mediums for healing. It's a beautiful book. It's very quick, it's very fundamentally written. It's simply written for you to understand and overstand. So you might want to think about getting that book as well. But to get my book, if you want to go directly online and support our cause, it is to go to lulu.com and then /content and then another / and then the number is 216-6333. Again, 216-6333. And that will put you directly into the home page. Now, those of you who do purchase and support, please, if you don't like the book, if you like the book, go back up online to the purchase page because there's room underneath the purchase information for you to put your comments. And if you read the book and you think you like the book, you hate the book, whatever, please write a comment because the publisher that I have is a publisher on demand. And that tends to help move the ranking of the book up based upon the quality of responses that are given to the work. So if it's possible, would you please, like it or not, hate it, love it, whatever, please put a comment on the purchase page about your impression of the book. And I wish one day we can sit down and go over all the topics of the 709 pages that are in the book.
All right.
I would love to go into it. But hopefully, first of all, I want to thank you, Sister Zaza, and my beloved brother, Professor Griff, for the opportunity to address the family through your medium. And always give thanks to you brothers and sisters that are out there doing the work honestly and perpetuating the reality of the truth. And not just truth, but the reality behind the truth. That's what the deal is, because the truth vacillates from generation to generation. find the reality in the thing, and it's the string that brings the pearls together.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, good brother. We really appreciate you. Hopefully we can have you back